one is headed for New Jersey. High into the upper deck. Barry Bonds with a spectacular three-run homer.
In the late 90s, the steroid era swept throughout the sport of baseball, causing a major increase in MLB players using performance-enhancing drugs. Many memorable players from this era, such as Manny Ramirez, Sammy Sosa, and Roger Clemens, used such drugs. In 2007, Barry Bonds, an open steroid user, broke Hank Aaron's record for most all-time home runs. This caused major controversy about whether or not steroid users should be allowed into the Hall of Fame. Alex Rodriguez, who has been caught using steroids on 2 different occasions, is now rising in the all-time home runs list, recently passing Willie Mays to become 4th of all time. We decided to interview people in Newton North High School to ask them what they thought about steroid users like Alex Rodriguez, and if they should be put into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
No, definitely not.
I think that if someone's going to have to cheat in order to be good at a sport, then they shouldn't be remembered for anything that they do.
Well, it's kind of a tough question because I think in that era, everyone was doing it, or most people were doing it. And honestly, that was the most entertaining era, but obviously now it's against the rules. So also A-Rod's a terrible person. I hate his guts. I think anyone who took steroids should have at least an asterisk next to their name.
Really, people's inner fan tends to lead them in one way or another, depending on whether they like the player or not. So, for instance, I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't like Alex Rodriguez, so I feel like, oh yeah, he should totally be banned from the Hall of Fame and penalized for what he's done. On the other hand, David Ortiz, I'm a fan of David Ortiz. I love David Ortiz, so I feel like, oh no, he's clean. Whatever they say about that failed test in 2003, that's got to be wrong. So I feel like it's an issue that is hard for any person to sort out because they have their own personal opinions about the players, and that really ends up clouding judgment.
If they're remembered statistically for all their achievements, it should be with an asterisk, because those steroids, human growth hormones, gave them an advantage, and was, to my mind, an unfair advantage. And so obviously they have a talent, but I think it should be designated with an asterisk.
I'd say it depends on the degree of how much they cheated, say, if they used steroids, but also how much they did for sports and their community.
So I don't think so. I think that the record should only be valid if it's proved that they haven't, used steroids or used human growth hormone or any of that stuff.
I don't think players that did steroids should be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's pretty bad to even consider that if you look back in the 90s and all those records that they all broke, no one's even come close to even capturing anything close to what they did. So, you just look at like the home run totals for last year. I think the number 1 guy who had the most home runs was like 40 or something like that. And then you had people back in those days like Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa hitting 60, 70. So, yeah, I don't think they should be in the Hall of Fame.
Personally, I don't believe they should. I know that years ago that it was not illegal, but I still feel like they have gained an unfair advantage over people that played the game clean. So I would say, no, my home run king is Henry Aaron.
Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
I think so, because I feel like a lot of the great players use steroids, even if we don't know that they did. So I think maybe there should be a little asterisk saying they use steroids, but for the most part, if so many people did it, it shouldn't be. If you take everyone out of the Hall of Fame.
I don't think so, because they didn't work and that wasn't their honest effort.
I agree. I think other people worked harder for them, but they didn't get as many benefits.
I definitely don't think their records should be remembered. However, I do think they should be remembered for their cheating and their dishonesty. I think that should be a cautionary tale, and it should be remembered for future athletes.
He decided to interview Joe Siciliano, the 29-year head coach of varsity baseball here at Newton North High School, to ask him what he thought about steroids.
With our baseball program, I have never seen steroid use with our baseball program. Maybe in some other schools, everybody thinks they're suspects, but I have not seen it. Well, it makes them stronger, and that means you're going to be able to pitch and hit better. Also, if you were injured, I guess it'll make you come back from injuries quicker. So, you know, the professional level, you can see the motivation, but they're illegal, so they shouldn't be doing them.
Do you think that players who took steroids in the MLB should be in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely not. You know, if it's illegal and they're using those illegal substances, they absolutely should not be in the Hall of Fame.